Ohio. Antigua and Barbuda, the state on the islands of the same name and the island of Redonda in group of the Lesser Antilles. Caribbean Sea. The population is generally black. The most part of believers, Protestants. Member Sadrzestva, Organization of American States. The head of state, the monarch of Great Britain, presented by the Governor-General. The name comes from the Spanish words Antigua, ancient, and Barbuda, bearded. The island of Antigua, which is originally called by Arawaks of Valladolid, is called locals of Valladolid today. Caribs probably named in Viamoni. Christopher Columbus, who visited the island in 1493, probably called it Santa Maria la Antigua. Santa Maria la Antigua, in honor of an icon in the Seville Cathedral. Pioneer settlements of people on islands Antigua and Barbuda appeared in the 3rd millennium BB. At the beginning of our era there were tribes of the Arawaks who were engaged in agriculture here. In the 13th century they were forced out by aggressive tribes of Caribs. Islands are opened by Christopher Columbus in 1493 during his second expedition. But because of climatic difficulties and attacks of tribes of Caribs on islands long, there were no constant settlements. Since 1632, possession of Great Britain. In 1666-1667 Antigua was occupied by France. In 1674 to Antigua the first plantation of sugar cane was put. British also based on Antigua and other plantation farms. Cotton, tobacco, cocoas. For this purpose began to deliver black slaves from Africa. Slavery was cancelled in 1834. In 1671 Antigua and Barbuda together with the islands of St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla and Montserrat, the Leeward Islands, are a part of colony. In 1689 on islands there were first governing bodies consisting of landowners and planters. In 1816 the Leeward Islands were divided into two parts, but in 1833 the colony was restored again, and the island of Antigua became her center. In 1958-1962 Antigua, as a part of the West Indian Federation, and the colony the Leeward Islands in 1960 was officially abolished. In February 1967 Great Britain provided to Antigua the status of the state associated with Great Britain, with all completeness of internal self-government when maintaining responsibility of Great Britain for defense and an external relationship. Since November 1, 1981, the independent state of Antigua and Barbuda has diplomatic relations with the Russian Federation, are established with the USSR. The political system of Antigua and Barbuda is defined as the unitary parliamentary monarchy. In Antigua and Barbuda the so-called Westminster model, which is characterized by a special way of division and interaction of branches of the power works. The head of state is the monarch of Great Britain, who appoints the Governor-General possessing representative functions. Louise Lake appointed the Governor-General in 2007, became the first female governor in the history of Antigua and Barbuda. The cabinet is formed of members of the party which won parliamentary elections. Candidates for ministers are only formally approved by the Governor-General according to the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Since June 13, 2014, Gaston Brown. The Prime Minister is the head of the government who possesses executive power. The government bears responsibility to Parliament, which can express a vote of no confidence. Article 73 of the Constitution. The Prime Minister resigns from authority in case of dissolution of Parliament or in other cases when he loses or temporarily the deputy mandate becomes invalid for him. The Minister loses the post under the relevant decree of the Governor-General acting under the application of the Prime Minister, and also in case of resignation of the Prime Minister or dissolution of Parliament. The legislature belongs to the government and both chambers of Parliament of Antigua and Barbuda. The two-chamber Parliament consists of the Senate, 17 senators, and the House of Representatives, 17 deputies. Ten senators are appointed the Governor-General according to the recommendation of the Prime Minister, 4 senators, according to the recommendation of the Leader of Opposition. 1 senator is appointed the Governor-General from representatives of those social or other groups whose interests, according to the Governor-General, need to be presented. 1 member of the Senate appointed the Governor-General represents the interests of the Legislative Council of Barbuda. 1 more is also appointed from Barbuda according to the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Senator: the person can don't become younger than 21 years, being a citizen of the country and constantly living in her territory not less than 12 months before date of appointment. Article 29. The deputy of the House of Representatives: the person can don't become younger than 21 years, being a citizen of the country and constantly living in her territory not less than 12 months before date of election. Article 38. Deputies of the House of Representatives are elected by means of a direct secret national vote in single candidate districts. As of 2010-17. On a majority system. Article 40. 1 seat in Parliament is assigned to the representative of the Lake Barbuda. The citizens of Antigua and Barbuda who reached 18-year age, and also those citizens of the Commonwealth from 18 years who have property in this state have active voting rights. The last elections took place on March 12, 2009. By results of elections, the United Progressive Party received 9 deputy places, the Labour Party -7 places, People's Movement of Barbuda -1 place. Judicial authority is presented by the East Caribbean Supreme Court. The headquarters is located in St. Lucia. 1 judge is a resident of Antigua and Barbuda and presides in court of law. Each member state of the East Caribbean judicial system has own High Court of Justice, which together with office is the place of a meeting of the local judge of High Court of Justice. Antigua and Barbuda is also a member of the Caribbean Court of Justice. The local government to Antigua doesn't exist in view of the small sizes of the island. All administrative functions are carried out by the national government. Especially for Barbuda, work of local council, which is the main local government on the island, is regulated. The Act of Local Government Barbuda, adopted in 1976, works. The local council consists of 11 dics. The territory of Antigua and Barbuda is divided into 6 districts: St. Peter and St. Philip, St. George, St. John, St. Mary, St. Paul, and 2 so-called dependent territories, Barbuda and Redonda. actually dependent territories which aren't as represent integral parts of the country. The state consists of 2 rather large islands and several small islands near their coast. Antigua, the largest, 280 km, and inhabited. The island Barbuda, located in 48 km to the north from Antigua, is the second largest island, 161 km. Small uninhabited island of Redonda, 1.6 km. Approximately in 40 km to the west of Antigua, is also a part of the state of Antigua and Barbuda. In the east it is washed by waters of the Atlantic Ocean, in the west the Caribbean Sea. In a landscape, lowlands generally prevail. The highest point of Antigua, the hill Boji, 402 m. The highest point of Barbuda, -32 m. The state capital, St. John's, is located on the island of Antigua. The only settlement on the Lake Barbuda is Codrington. On islands the warm tropical climate, with a constant temperature within a year, prevails. The best weather conditions since the end of November prior to the beginning of May. The fauna of islands is presented, mainly, by rich avifauna in neighboring waters, communities of coral reefs. Antigua and Barbuda, the developing state specializing in the international services. The basis of the economy, tourism. 60% of GDP. As of 2012, in agriculture the following crops are cultivated: bananas, bean, cabbage and others, cabbage, carrots and turnip, a cassava, chili pepper and other pepper, cotton, seeds of cotton and cotton oil, cucumbers, including gherkins, eggplants, onions, pumpkins, vegetable marrows and melon, tomatoes and corn. The cattle gets divorced. The industry, production of clothes and alcoholic beverages. The act enters into the International Organization of the Countries. In the annual classification of the World Bank published in the middle of 2010, Antigua and Barbuda, the country with the economy of high average income. In 1982 offshore business began to develop. Since 1993 began to be created and offshore banks, and in recent years development were gained by offshore game business with use of the internet. Investing in fund of national development, government bonds or acquisition of the real estate. It is possible to obtain citizenship Antigua and Barbuda. Age and sex pyramid of the population of Antigua and Barbuda for 2020. The population -86.8 thousand. Assessment for July 2010. Annual gain -1.3%. Birth rate -16.4 on 1,000 inhabitants. Fertility -2.06 births on the woman. Mortality -5. 8 on 1,000. The population share up to 15 years -28%, 65 years is also more senior -7%. Immigration -2.4 for 1,000. Average life expectancy is 73 years at men, 77 years at women. Ethno-racial structure. Blacks -91%, mulattoes -4.4%, white -1.7%, others -2.9%. On a census of 2001. Literacy -86%. Urban population -30%, rural -70%. The age group up to 15 years is made by 26% of the population, from 15 to 65 years -67%, 65 years -7% or more senior. The Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda doesn't assign to any religion the status official. Priests are forbidden to become members of parliament. The school is separated from church. The religious factor doesn't play a significant role in policy. By results of a census of 2001, the most widespread group are followers of Anglicanism. About 25% of the total number of the population of the country. The religious structure of the population of Antigua and Barbuda differs in a variety of the directions of Christianity. Seventh-day Adventist Church, 12%. Pentecostals, 11%. Parishioners of the Moravian Church, 11%. And Church of God, 5%. Catholics, 10%. Methodologists, 8%. Baptists, 5%. Other currents of Christianity, 0.5%. Other religions are practiced by 2% of inhabitants. Atheists and also persons whose religion isn't established make about 6% of the total number of the population. English is official, but many locals speak Antigua Creole. The Barbudski accent differs from Antigua accent a little. In the years preceding independence, Standard English was more widespread in relation to Antigua Creole. Subsequently, Antigua Creole began to be considered by Antiguanets as an important aspect of the culture. As a rule, the top and average classes avoid Antigua Creole. The education system rejects use Antigua Creole and training is provided in Standard English. Many words used in Antigua Creole are borrowed from English and the African languages. The proverbs used on the island can often be carried to the African culture. Antigua and Barbuda has mainly English character. National sport is the cricket. Other popular sports include soccer, sailing and surfing. The American pop culture and fashion also have a strong impact. Most Massachusetts media of the country are included into large American networks. Antiguans watch closely trends of the American fashion. Products of the main designers are on sale in boutiques of street John's and other cities, though many Antiguanets prefer special trips to do shopping to St. Martin or to San Juan. The family and religion play an important role in life of inhabitants of Antigua. Most of the population visits religious services on Sundays. The National Carnival in the British West Indies is carried out every August to the memory of slavery cancellation, though on some islands the carnival can be devoted to celebration of the beginning of the Lent. His festive processions, competitions, a show and other actions are one of the main tourist attractions. Popular styles of music are calypso and juice. Corn and sweet potatoes play an important role in Antigua cuisine. The popular Antigua dish represents the steamed pelmeni from grated sweet potatoes, flour and spices. The dish of a funza represents the paste prepared from cornmeal and water. In Antigua, 2 daily newspapers are issued: Daily Observer and Antigua Sun. Except most the American television networks, broadcasting carries out also local channel ABS TV 10. The only channel transferring exclusively local programs. There are also several local and regional radio stations. Are among private radio stations: Observer Radio, Crusader Radio, Crusader Radio, Opbalons, Zedeki Liberty of Radio, Hid Liberty Radio, Sun FM, Sun FM, Caribbean Radio Lighthouse. As well as in many other Commonwealth countries, the cricket is the most popular sport. In 2007, the Cricket World Cup was held in West Indies. In Antigua, 8 matches at the stadium of a name of Sir Vivian Richards, constructed on February 11, 2007 and containing up to 20,000 people, were held. The soccer is also a very popular sport, though the national team has no considerable experience. The professional Antigua team of Barracuda IQ, which has to begin performances in the first USL division, the lowest American professional football league. In 2011 is formed. In Antigua, several enough qualified athletes are trained. Sonia Williams and Heather Samuel represented the country at the Olympic Games. Among other rising stars, there are Brendan Christian and Danijel Bailey. Run on 100 and 200 m. James Grayman. High jumps. Antigua can brag of excellent tennis players. First of all, Brian Philip and Roberto Esposito, the first in Ireland rating aged up to 18 years, both participate in the 8 tournaments of the corresponding age category. According to the report of Prune about development of the person of 2009, the level of literacy of adult population 15 years or also more senior. Antigua and Barbuda in 2007 was 99%. The general indicator of students in initial averages and higher educational institutions in 2007, 85.6%, the index of education level -0.945. School education is obligatory for children from 5 to 16 years and is provided by the state free of charge. According to the Education Act, the public and private schools are divided into the following categories: kindergartens for children up to 5 years, elementary schools for children from 5 to 12 years, high schools for children from 12 to 20 years, the technical schools providing vocational craft and technical education, teacher training colleges for vocational training of teachers, special schools for children with limited opportunities, other schools, including institutions of the higher and vocational professional education. According to the Ministry of Education in the country, there are 34 state and 28 private initial, 9 state and 6 private high schools, and also 13 other institutions of education, including institutes and colleges. In Antigua and Barbuda there are several higher educational institutions, in particular the State College Antigua, Institute of Information Technologies Antigua and Barbuda, and also branches of the international schools from which the University of West Indies and Island Academy are distinguished. In 1998, Antigua and Barbuda adopted the national program for an exit to the leading position on Caribbean islands on providing medical services. A part of this program is construction of the most technologically advanced hospital on Caribbean islands, the Medical Center St. John. Now to medical schools. The American University Antigua, founded in 2004, and the University of Healthcare, founded in 1982, operate on the island of Antigua. Antigua and Barbuda established diplomatic relations with 72 countries, including with the Russian Federation. Are established with the USA on June 5, 1990. The ambassador of Russia in Jamaica is the ambassador in Antigua and Barbuda in combination. Embassies are open in the USA, Great Britain, Cuba. There is also Consulate General in Canada and honorary consuls in 4 countries. In Antigua, embassies of Cuba, China and Venezuela, and also honorary consuls of a number of the countries are available. The closest diplomatic relations developed with Venezuela. Citizens of the Russian Federation have the right of visa-free entry into the country for a period of up to 6 months. Antigua and Barbuda is a member of the United Nations, Alliance of the Countries of Latin America and the Caribbean region, the British Commonwealth of Nations, the Caribbean Community, Organization of the East Caribbean States, the Organization of American States, the World Trade Organization, and the East Caribbean Regional Security System. Is also a member of the International Criminal Court. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.